Hi, hello, how are you, and welcome back. I want to talk to you briefly about this new moon, the new moon in April, which is our first new moon in the Astrology New Year. So the Astrology New Year tends to happen on the equinox when there's a movement of the sun out of Pisces, and in this instance it moves into Aries, and on March 21st. So that's fantastic. We've got our first new moon in the new year. So that's also really, really exciting because all the planets also moving forward. So we've got a new moon, which means new beginnings, our first new moon in the new year, so new beginnings, and all the planets are moving forward. So that's really, really great. And it's in the Ram, and the Ram is all about moving forward, so that's also great. So it's a really good time for us to get active, to start thinking about our plans, to start moving those plans forward, and to start taking our whatever it is, our business, our dreams, our plans forward in the new direction. It's a great opportunity. And I would urge you all to do it because we've got a lovely 2-week window, which is all we need before we come up to the full moon. But in this new moon, we've got a lovely period of time when we do not have any planets in retrograde, and that's fantastic. Saturn will go retrograde on the 10th of April, but that still gives us 5 days to move things forward. In the meantime, there will be a square to Saturn from this moon, and square, is not a favorable connection to the moon. But in many ways, that's okay as well, because what that's actually is saying to us, if you get some delays, Saturn is all about thinking and strategy and planning. So if you get some delays with moving forward with your new idea or your new objective, all that means is take stock, have a little bit of a think about what you're doing, maybe give it a bit of a tweak, and then take it forward again. Because remember, Saturn is just saying, have we dotted our I's, have we crossed our T's, have we done all the thinking? So in some ways, it's just a nice little checkpoint if that happens. It may not happen with all of us. Okay, so that's really, really fantastic. Now, the other thing I want to just briefly talk to you, which has also got to do with Aries and the new moon, in the new moon, is that, and forgive me, I've got something in my throat. We're going to have it's an ideal time, and we're going to have a little revolution. And that little mini revolution is actually, we've had all the revolutions and rethinkings and some major reorganization of our relationships. That's been happening in the last 3 or 4 weeks, or actually probably for longer than that. But Aries allows us to go in and have a look at our relationship to ourselves. So this is another thing that this new moon gives us the opportunity to do. It gives us the opportunity to really review the relationship that we're having with ourselves. And it's a perfect time to do that because Aries, the Ram, is also the sign of self-sufficiency. So it's a good time to have a look at our dependencies on other people, whether that's in balance, and if it's not in balance, to bring that back in balance. Whether we might be being a little bit too self-sufficient, and whether we need to also expand that out. So it starts having a look at how we are relating to ourselves. And I think this still has connections to Chiron, which is all about our values, and in particular are our internal values being reflected in the external world, and that's driving a lot of change for a lot of us. So now this allows us to stop thinking, or well, not stop thinking, but moves the focus from our external relationships to our internal relationships, and starts getting us to really assess how well we are taking care of ourselves, how well we are respecting ourselves, and how comfortable we are with how we are expressing ourselves and basically being us. The only other thing to bear in mind with all of that is that Mars is still in shadow and will be for another week. So what that means is some of the messages that we got coming to us will be a little bit nebulous, a little bit unsure, and perhaps also the way that we're giving our messages out about ourselves may not be 100% accurate and clear. So it's also a time for us to be quite assertive in how we are expressing ourselves, both to ourselves and then externally to others. So for those of you who haven't had a chance to look at the video I put up about activating the heart, throat and third eye chakra, maybe it's still time to have a look at that, because that just opens up yourself to receiving and being open to the messages. And it's just important to be open to the messages that we give ourselves, particularly when they are affirmation messages. And often we block those affirmation messages because we just don't want to hear it. But now is a really good time to be giving yourself affirmation statements and having great positive interactive sessions with yourself. So that's a really personal time for us to really take hold of our relationship with us, and I mean your internal relationship with self. Okay, so that's the Aries new moon. This is our first new moon for the year, the astrology year. So it's a doubly important time. All the planets are going forward. It's a good time to take action. It's a good time to continue manifesting, but put those things we've been manifesting now, start taking those physical steps towards that. The other aspect of it is that if there's a slight square to Saturn, that's okay, because all Saturn's going to ask you to do is recheck, double check, and if you're not 100% sure, do that research and then take it forward again, which is delightful. And it's check-in time, but this time it's check-in with ourselves. So the focus is on the revolution of our relationship with self. So it's about thinking about who we are and starting to really fall in love with ourselves again, which is a really important thing to do. Okay, hope you have a really, really lovely time. Please enjoy this full moon. Take whatever you want to take forward, because it's a perfect time to do it. And I'll get the tarot to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.